Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at the new look N6707 pattern, and I am going to do a pattern review for this pattern. It's an easy top pattern that comes in sizes 4 to 16. So there is a very narrow size range here. So if you're someone who generally go the next group of sizes up, like the 16 to 22 or 24, this pattern may not be for you. However, I'm usually on the cusp of an 18 and a 20. And so I did have to grade up to the size 18. And I will say it's very easy to grade up. And even though I only graded up that one size, I could definitely see grading this pattern up to about a 22 or so. So if you're someone who is skilled in that area and you are or either learning about grading up, this would be a really great pattern to test. So don't feel like you can't sew the pattern because it's not in your size. I do feel like you can grade this pattern up a couple of sizes and be okay. So the pattern features two different variations of a top. So the first top features this beautiful and it's semi-cropped, so you can either lengthen it or crop it even more if you want to. And so that is also an option, but it is a semi-cropped top, and you get these beautiful, not gathers, but pleats on the shoulder head. And so it's very big and voluminous. I will tell you the adjustments that I had to make to the sleeve when I get to the adjustment and modification portion of the video. Just keep that in mind. They are very beautiful, but you may need to do some adjustments to your sleeve. The sleeve features, so you have two different sleeve options. You have a sleeve A where you can put a band around the lower edge of your sleeve band, or you could do view B and you could put elastic through your sleeve. So you do have two different lines for your sleeve pattern. Just keep that in mind that your sleeve may be longer or shorter depending on which view you choose, but they're relatively close in size. And so you're not getting two separate patterns for your sleeve, and it's really not that much of a difference in length when it comes to your sleeve pattern. You do get for variation A this really beautiful statement collar. It's really big and it's so cute. You also get a ruffle that you can put between the under collar and the over collar. And so when you sandwich that ruffle, you get these beautiful ruffles around the neckline of the collar, which is really cute. The pattern features a button down top. And so you are sewing your front pattern piece out twice, or I'm sorry, cutting. You're cutting your pattern piece, your front pattern piece out twice, and you're cutting your back pattern piece on fold. You are cutting that collar piece twice. As I mentioned before, you have an upper and an under collar. And then your ruffle, you're cutting that piece out once, but it's a really long pattern because you have to gather in this really long, it's like maybe like a rectangle shape, really, really long, and you have to gather that in so you can put that around the collar. You do have the option to omit the collar, as you can see for view B. I did that variation. I did both variations, but my second variation is the one that I'm wearing, and it's of this beautiful denim and white chambray type fabric that I purchased from Hobby Lobby years ago, and it was in my stash. I made a skirt with this pattern, and I had some fabric left over, and I had intended to make a top back then, and I just waited. I didn't know what top I was going to make, and this year I just decided to make this new look top with it. And so it doesn't go well with the skirt pattern that I made. However, it is a really great standalone piece. You can wear it with, like I paired it with this beautiful denim skirt that I made this summer with another new look pattern, and you'll see the review of that. And then also with some jeans. I wore it a couple times already. This is I think my third time wearing it, and it's very comfortable, very nice to wear. I did lengthen the top that I have on by an inch, and so I had to add another button. I think the pattern calls for 4 buttons. And so for this one, I believe I have 5 or 6 buttons. But for the other one, I do have the 4 buttons. That one's a little bit more cropped, and you'll see what that looks like. And as I mentioned before, I only lengthened this pattern by 1 inch. This one that I'm wearing, I only lengthened it by 1 inch. The other one, I think I actually made a mistake. I think I cropped off about 5/8 of an inch off my hem after I had it together, because I made that variation with the rayon challis, and I just made a mistake on the hem. So I had to even out the hem and crop off a little bit more. And so that one's not quite the same as the original design. However, I only took off 5/8 of an inch, so you might not be able to tell that much. So overall, I did enjoy this pattern. As I mentioned before, it comes in sizes 4 to 16. The size 16, I believe, I'll put the size here. I was nervous after doing the mock-up. I decided I was going to go up a size. And so I made a size 18, and I just basically increased the front pattern and the back pattern pieces at the side seam, and the shoulder line by, I think it was like a 1/2 inch. And I did that for both the back and the front pattern piece. And so that gave me about 2 more inches of ease. So that's what I did to increase my pattern piece. You can kind of follow along and do the same or similar if you want to go ahead and increase your pattern as well. So for the shoulder line, so I mentioned in the beginning of the video that I did some adjustments to my shoulder. For one, the cap height was quite big, and so I shortened the cap height by a 1/2 inch. And then for the, you'll see on my variations, I have gathers instead of pleats. I did make the pleats in my original mock-up version, and I decided that I didn't like it. And so I did a mock-up of a gathered sleeve, and I liked it more than the pleats. And so I went ahead and I did gathers in my shoulder line instead, or my shoulder head, instead of having the pleats. I did a mock-up, and so I'll try to include that into the video so you can see what the pleats look like instead of the gathers, and you can choose for yourself. It's really easy to alter the top of the sleeve head and include those gathers. For the most part, because you have so much volume and so much space in the upper part of that sleeve, and it was designed to have pleats there, it's so easy to just go ahead and make a shape, a curved shape at the top of your sleeve, and to just gather in between those points where you would originally have put pleats there. So that's basically all I did. I just made a curve, because you'll see on the pattern it has like pointed or jagged edges so that you can fold over the pleats. So instead of having those jagged edges, I just made a curve at the top so that my sleeve could actually have the shape of a curve. And then I put my gathers in that way. So it's so easy to do that, and it's not that hard at all. If you want a tutorial on that or whatever, just let me know in the comment section below, and I'll try to show you what I did there. So again, overall, really enjoyed this pattern. The last thing I want to say, so you don't have a button placket, but you do have you have facings. You have a front and a back facing for your garment. And you also have like a guideline that they give you for where you're placing your buttons on the front of your top. So even though you don't have a button placket, it's just a fold over, and you just follow your button guide, and you put your buttonhole marks on the side that you will put your buttonholes on, and then you just mark it down like that. So you don't have to worry about a button placket. In terms of pattern pieces, you have the front, which is cut twice. You have your back, which is cut on fold. You have your sleeve pattern and your sleeve band if you decide to do the sleeve band. And then you also have your collar, and you have your ruffle. So a total of 6 pattern pieces. And if you want to count your button guide and your elastic guide, you have those 2 pattern pieces as well. So it's a total of about 8 pattern pieces inside the envelope. If you omit the collar and the ruffle, that's 2 pattern pieces that you don't have to worry about. And so I would say, in terms of like how many pattern pieces you would be working with, you can work with anywhere from about 5 to about 7 or 8 pattern pieces, depending on what variation you choose and what you include into your garment. And so I'll go ahead and put video images here so you can actually see what my garment turned out to look like. I really like both variations. The first variation I made was with the rayon challis. It's a navy blue and white floral print, and I purchased that from Fabric Mart Fabrics about 3 years ago. And I still have some of that fabric left. I think a skirt or a pair of pants would go so good with this top. And so that's what I did for that one. I picked some really basic white buttons that I purchased from Joann to go with it. And as I mentioned, I believe that top has 4 buttons. The top that you see me wearing, this is the one that I had lengthened by an inch. And so I have a little bit, in terms of buttons, I have, I think, 1 or 2 more buttons than the other version. And this one is, again, a really lightweight denim chambray type fabric that I purchased from Joann. So again, really loved both of these makes. Let me know what you think of this pattern and also the pattern review in the comment section below. Thank you all for tuning into today's video. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I can't wait to hear from you, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Bye.